Howdy folks, you're watching Deuce, and today is March 8th, otherwise known as 308 Day. It's not an AR-10. AR-10s are different. This is an AR-308. And it happens to be 3D printed right there. It's a Hoffman Tactical 3D print lower. The upper is just a cheap one I found online. Nothing special about it whatsoever. I did not have time to put up some actual sights on this, so I have some interesting sights right there. First of all, we're going to be trying out some blue ammo. This is a testing German ammo that is pretty cool, super fast. I've got several videos on this stuff. We're going to test it out here with that first. Now I've got a really good seal on this hearing protection because number one, this is 5,000 foot per second, super loud ammo, and I'm actually undercover right now. This is, I'm in a steel building, so it's going to be loud. It's so fast and loud. Now it is a single shot only because it doesn't have enough oomph or gas power to cycle the action. No idea where that shot's going. No idea whatsoever. Now I've got some super old Monarch 308 right there. I'm going to try that out. I have no idea if this will function. This will be the first full power rounds I've put through my 3D printed 308. We'll see if she runs. I have no idea. All right, here we go. I swear something was coming back and hitting me in the mouth just slightly. I don't know if there was a charging handle. Alrighty folks, after the instant replay, I can tell you that yes, the non-reciprocating charging handle in the back here is in fact reciprocating. It's coming right back. It's not locking. My charging handle is not locking. That has nothing to do with the 3D print. The upper was not milled correctly for the charging handle. Fantastic. We are now back down in the bunker. I had planned to shoot this quite a bit more, at least to get a full mag through it, which it would have done. It would have done. There's no damage with this or anything. The 3D printed lower is handling everything just fine. The issue was, of course, the charging handle not locking because it was incorrectly milled. But we aren't here to talk about this. We are here to talk about the fantastic cartridge called 308 Winchester. Some people will say that's identical to 7.62 by 51 NATO. For the most part, they're interchangeable. We'll get to that later, but they're not exactly the same cartridge. Kind of like 5.56 versus 2.23. I have three rifles that shoot 308 Winchester. I've got, of course, my 308 lower. I have my M1A right here. And I have my Century Arms Set-Me rifle right here. All three of these are chambered in 308, which also means that they can stand the pressure and the slight headspace differences to also shoot 7.62 by 51. And oddly enough, all of these come with standard 20 round box magazines. This is the Set Me box magazine, the aluminum one. They've got the steel one. I've got the steel one in the rifle itself. Of course, the M1A has nice box magazine there. It's a great rifle. I should have brought this to the range, not my experimental job here. And of course, the 308 lower in the AR platform is also a standard 20 round box magazine. So why is this called a 308 cartridge? Well, it is called a 308 Winchester mainly because it uses a 30 caliber bullet on top of the case, and that bullet measures 0.308 inches. And that of course is diameter. So let's go ahead. I'm not sure if the 308 part, oh, I've got it in millimeters. Well, let me go to inches here. If I try to measure this out here, here we go, 309. That's pretty close right there. And here we have a 308 bullet in the raw, so we can really get some accurate there. 307, all right, close enough, 307.5. Why is this also considered a 7.62 by 51 cartridge? Well, if you take the 308 bullet here, got 309 right there, and you change the millimeters, you change it from inches to millimeters there, you will get 7.85 millimeters. This bullet, the 308 bullet, measures about 7.85 millimeters in diameter, which is quite a bit bigger than 7.62. Now where the 7.62 comes into play is inside that diameter of the bore. You have right here, okay, 7.57, that's pretty close. Again, I am just kind of roughing this out here. And the other part of the 7.62 by 51 cartridge nomenclature, the 51 millimeters, deals with the length of the case. So we've got 50.91 millimeters. That's pretty close. These things have been trimmed a couple times. So what are the differences between 308 Winchester and 7.62 NATO? Well, 7.62 NATO has traditionally a little bit lower pressure. That's kind of debated back and forth because they use different types of measuring systems to measure the civilian 308 cartridge versus the military 7.62 NATO cartridge. But in general, slightly less maximum pressure allowed in the 7.62 NATO versus the 308 Winchester. Also, the 308 Winchester holds a little bit more gunpowder, which I guess is part of that whole extra pressure deal because it has slightly thinner brass walls in the case. 7.62 NATO has a slightly thicker brass wall going around the cartridge, which means it has a little bit less room inside for gunpowder. Bullet-wise, they use pretty much the same kind of profile. They almost always use a boat tail style cartridge or a boat tail style bullet, but the NATOs are typically around 150 grains. That's where their sweet spot is as far as their use in the field and in the military rifles. 308 cartridges can go, all over the place as far as weights go, anywhere between super lightweight, like 120, 130 grain bullet for that screaming fast laser type bullet. Or in this case, this is a, 180 grain right there. It's a 180 grain bullet, of course, boat tail. But basically the 308 is the civilian cartridge and the 7.62 NATO is for, NATO, for military use. For you reloading aficionados, I use Alliance Reloader 15 for my 308 reloads because I just like this stuff. Is it the very best for 308? No, it's not. There are some powders that are specifically designed for 308, but Reloader 15 I have found is a very versatile powder in pretty much every 30 caliber cartridge. The origin story or the origin lore, if you want to go that route, of the 308 Winchester cartridge is very interesting. I'm not holding it. This is called foreshadowing. So back in the late 40s, early 50s, the military was looking for a lighter, more compact, but still just as powerful cartridge as the 30-06. They loved the 30-06. It won 2 world wars basically. Why would you want to go away from the 30-06? Well, it is a huge cartridge. It's very, very large. So they wanted something smaller, more compact, that they could use a smaller chamber and all that good stuff and still have a very powerful 30 caliber cartridge. So here is the 30-06 cartridge, still in its M1 Garand ping, and there is the 308. So after all the trials, the military settled down onto 7.62 by 51. Now, I'm not sure how much out-of-the-box thinking that required because they basically just shrunk the case down a little bit and stuck the same exact bullet on top of it. And boom, 7.62 by 51. Weird. It was officially adopted in 1954, around 1954. But 2 years earlier, Winchester got a hold of their idea and they said, we can do that and we can do it quicker and faster because we're the commercial market and money moves things a lot faster than the government does. So Winchester came out in 1952 with the 308 Winchester cartridge, and then later on, the 7.62 by 51 was adopted by the military, which is why they're I keep on grabbing the wrong cartridge here, which is why they are just slightly different, but still very, very similar because they are based on each other's design. I know I should have celebrated 308 Day a few days earlier and gotten the video out earlier so then you guys can celebrate with me on 308, but unfortunately old Deuce here is pretty busy. I do recommend sometime this week celebrate 308. Grab your old 308 rifle, your semi-automatic, your bolt action, your single action, if you got a single action, single shot 308. A good friend of mine used to have a handy rifle in 308. Those are break barrel rifles. Those are great if you can ever find one. Now, of course, they're long gone. The handy rifle was bought by Marlin and then bought by Remington, and then Remington killed it. If you can find one of those, and I think Thompson Center also makes a break action 308. Maybe, I can't remember. I'm just going off the top of my memory here. Go out and celebrate 308 Day sometime this week if you can. Shoot some rounds down range, hit some steel, ring some bells. That'll be the greatest way to exercise your Second Amendment and just have a good day. Well, guys, that's it for me today. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give me a like and go subscribe. A lot more is on the way. If you have any comments, questions, show ideas. What did you do on your 308 day? Let that be known in the comments down below, and I'll try to answer as many of those as possible. As always, you guys have a great day. See ya.